Drink it in, man.
Cornbread! Cornbread!
Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Drink it in, man.
Cornbread! Cornbread!
Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Drink it in, man. Drink it in, man. Detroit Koolaid. Detroit Koolaid drinkers. You guys know what it is. Drink it in, man.
Cornbread! Cornbread!
Double-sided cornbread, lots of Detroit Kool-Aid. I'm your host, Derek Oakley, right here on the Detroit Koolaid Cast, coming at you talking about those Detroit Lions again this week. And, gosh, man, it's off-season. You know, they just finished up OTAs, minicamp. You know, everyone's like, we'll check you in 6 weeks. Players going to Bora Bora and the Bahamas and, you know, Mexico, and where's Matty Stafford and his crew go, and all the other players, you know, down there to Cabo. You guys know they're all up to that type of stuff, but there are guys on our team that stay here in Detroit, stay here in Michigan. They love it here, working hard. Also, nothing wrong with getting away and enjoying yourself, but the NFL is in that 4 to 6 week period where they're all taken off. But it was crazy for me to see, like, we're James Mitchell days away from playing the Rams, and you're like, how long is that? Because I don't remember James Mitchell's number, because he hadn't done anything on the football field. I mean, we took this guy, in like the 4th round, you know, 5th round, said he had some upside, speed, he was going to come back from this injury and be good, and I think I heard a reporter describe him as slow as molasses out on the football field. So that's not good. I've always been hopeful for Mr. James Mitchell to be a nice tight end that plays a role. Obviously now we have Sammy Biscuits, Sam Laporta. Me and many others are Laporta supporters. So he's not a big worry. But that's 82 days, by the way. That's his jersey number, 82 days away from the Rams. I think I saw just the other day, we got like rookies reporting on like July 20th, I want to say. Vets like a week later, so the end of July. We're basically 1 month away from training camp. I mean, that's crazy. That's exciting stuff. So a little break with what's going on, but lots soon to come with this football team. And I don't even know. There's so many topics to do. Just give you guys an idea. So I was rolling through, kind of making a list the other day of like all the different like gimmicks, topics, show styles we could do. You guys know normally I like to come on here, have 4 or 5 bullet points, talk with my buddies, do my solo shows, play some gimmick drops, laugh it up, talk Lions, talk football, talk fantasy football, talk about those Michigan Wolverines. That's kind of what I do on this show. But listen to this list. This is just like off the top of my head a few days ago. Dollars Make Sense series, top 10 list, live drafts, non-football topics and items, in the year 3000, game reviews, dis or dat, mock draft, stat that, previous season game rewatches, presser recap, swag alert, deep chart, depth chart, deep dives, PFF score updates and analysis, player comparisons, Lions history, do you remember when this happened, player rankings, free agent targets, reverse pod, we'll start it at the end and end it at the beginning, mailbag question, DKC hotline call-in shows, and practice squad player occasional updates. Like, those were just random things I thought of in about 10 minutes that we could talk about and do shows on here. So if any of those jump out to you, hit me up on Twitter. You guys can find me at Derek Oakrie. That's spelled the only way you can spell it, DEREKOKRIE. on the old Twitter X machine and tell me which one you jumped out to you, what you want me to do. Obviously, we're not going to be able to fit all those in kind of before we get rolling with training camp, preseason, regular season football. But they're all fun things that we could dive into, make segments out of, do a half a show, do a combo show, and all types of things we could do on those. So just want to throw those out there. You guys know also we kind of reached out to a few of you to see if we can get you on here. So you may have some listener guests, some other people. There's some things in the works, but let's tell me if you've heard this before on the show or not. Let's not mess around. I've talked about enough here. I think I'm 5+ minutes in, and I haven't told you what we're going to talk about here on the Koolaid Cast. So today, what I thought I wanted to do is, you guys seem to like when I just go rapid fire takes, which is just like random things that are on my mind. I think that you guys would be thinking as well about the Lions, and I just hit them. Boom, boom, boom. Before you know it, we got 8, 10, 12, 15 items. The show's over. Makes for an impactful, good short show, especially in the off season here. So we cannot mess around. Let's get right into it. The first quick take, rapid fire that I want to do is the secondary. Everybody knows we've added so many corners. I'm talking 4 or 5 bodies that didn't play on this team last year at corner. We have safeties that could take a ball away. We have safeties that can blitz. We have a guy named my boy Brian Branch, who can play nickel, who could play safety, who go get the football. He could tackle you. He could blitz. Just does everything. Love that player, number 32. You guys know what it is if you heard my draft coverage and what I thought about that guy. And he's proven to be all that and more on the football field. So where are these guys all going to play? I mean, again, there's lots of time needs to get shaken out. I know everybody wants to put Terrion Arnold already in the Hall of Fame. You've got this guy and that guy penciled in at different spots. But I'm here to tell you, like, this is going to be a much improved corner room. I do think that they have some versatility as well. But this is how I see it going down. I may have mentioned this before. I may not have. But I see this guy, who I was a little bit shaky on when they traded for him, but I see this guy as CB1. It's not unusual to be That's right, the Carlton over there at CB1. CB2, yeah, I'm going to give it to our boy, a.k.a. Sub-Zero, a.k.a. Agent Zero, T.A., Terrion, my wayward son, Terrion Arnold, because this guy has just seemed to be the man from day one. He's confident. His teammates already seem to love him. He's making plays in practice. He's got the build. He's smart. And I just think you put him on WR2s and let him go to work and learn from the Carlton. And before you know it, I think this guy is a really top-end CB1 before you know it, and just a nice lockdown piece. Yeah, he doesn't have elite speed. Hold on, let me do that again. He doesn't have elite speed, but he's got everything else you look for, and he can be physical, he'll tackle you, hard worker. So let's do that. Let's put the Carlton on CB1s here this year. T.A. Terrion Arnold on CB2s. And this guy has the greatest attitude ever. Says he's going to do whatever. He's ready to ball. He's a dog. He's this. He's that. Let's put a Meek, in the slot, and let's put him in that position and see how he can do there. So I like him in that position. It's kind of that CB2-3. Move him inside. See if he can handle that type of role. That frees up my boy BB. Brian Branch to move back to more of a safety. Aaron Glenn likes to play 3 safeties, so I'd like to move Brian Branch back there, whether it's a 2 or a 3 safety set. Let him move around, let him do some things, let him be more free to blitz, use his instincts, things like that. And I can't take Kerbo off the field. I know some people want to say, oh, he misses assignments, oh, he didn't know he's that big of a tackler. Like, every time I turn the tape on, like, He's taking people down when they do get kind of behind the defense. He's He makes plays on the football, obviously ball hawk, I love his swagger. I love his confidence. So I'm going to leave Kerbo on the field. And it's going to take everybody's favorite kind of flavor of the month, look what I did yesterday, recency bias player, and make him more of a part-time player, and that's Ife Melifonwu. Like, don't forget, this guy didn't do a damn thing for like 2 some years, and then it was about like halfway through last year where you still hadn't heard of him, just crickets, and then he showed up big. He's making big-time interceptions winning us the NFC North, he's blitzing, he's killing the quarterback. Like, I love things. I love his size. I love how he's grown into the safety role, but I think he's more of a spot player, more of a blitzing type, even get him in the box, whatever that means, whether that be at the linebacker level, coming off the edge, roaming, I could see him kind of playing tight ends. I think he can hang with tight ends and be physical and do those type of things. So that's kind of how I see the general guys going down, and then that leaves your depth guys as like the Enos Rakestraw for now, which I still love that player. I'm fine with that draft pick. I just think he's more of a CB4 at this point. Seems to be more comfortable on the outside than the inside, so I'd use him as kind of a, when people throw, 4+ wideouts, like you put him on the 3 or the 4 guy as long as they're not in the slot, because he said he's kind of still trying to figure out that slot nickel type position. And then you got Kendall Vildor, who, they played a lot last year, depth player. And, if Mosley can come back, you let Mosley and Rakestraw kind of battle it out for who's that next first guy off the bench type of thing, and the other guys behind him, handing out Gatorades and, hooping up his teammates, and will have a bigger role in the future is kind of how I see it going down. So that's how I'm breaking down the secondary right there. And like I say, fun group, exciting group, a versatile group, and one that I think is going to be so much more fun to watch, so much better. You're not going to see like Nick Mullins out there throwing for 400 against these guys. You're not going to see good quarterbacks or good offenses getting us roasted, toasted, and extra crispy. We're going to be sticky. We're going to be physical. We're going to be versatile where we can blitz from different angles. We're going to try to get after the football. Did that a little bit better last year, I felt, but it still got to get our hands on more footballs, tips, overthrows. Those got to be interceptions, and turning them up down the field, trying to score points is how I'd see it. So that's how I see the secondary going down. Drink it in, everybody.
Drink it in, man.
Next take. I probably should have started with this one, but I didn't, because I'm so excited about our secondary, and because this is a kicker. I can't start a show with kicker talk. I know all you guys are like, oh, Jake Bates is here. Woo! We're going to win the Super Bowl now. Jake Bates is a nice addition. Obviously, he boomed a couple 62, 64-yarders. That's always fun to watch. Yes, he kicked at Ford Field. Congratulations, that helps him as well. A little familiarity. Is it just me too, or like, is Ford Field got some AC, things going on for the opponents? Because I feel like there's more opponent missed field goals in Ford Field than any other indoor stadium. I feel like Rod Wood's got his finger on the old AC high button before opposing kicks, and he just cranks it up and it moves that thing just a little bit to the left when these guys are kicking. I mean, that's just me. That's rumor innuendo. That's conspiracy theory, I guess you would say, on the show. But lots of missed kicks for the opponents, not so much for our team. So, Jake Bates, 2-year deal, and people are like, oh, that means he's definitely the guy. Get every, numbers came out, and it's like $150K guaranteed. This guy's on like a tryout basis. I love his big leg, like I said. I know people will say, Dan Campbell doesn't kick field goals, and he's going to change his methodology now, and he's gonna. No, he's not. Is it a nice thing to have in your pocket if this guy can be accurate? And by the way, boom, anything from 50, 55, 58 on a regular basis? Yeah, but I don't see us going for 62, 64-yard field goals on the regular. If you can do it and you really need it in a pinch, congratulations. But to me, Jake Bates is a I mean, I view him as an upgrade from Badgley, and they already got rid of Turner, the Michigan kicker. So it's between Badgley and Bates. I would say Bates wins it, but stop giving Bates a gold jacket and acting like this is a dynamic offensive, defensive stud that we brought in. This is a kicker from the UFL that played in our stadium, has a decent big leg, seems to be pretty accurate, had some struggles later in the year. But yeah, if he can help put our kicking woes to bed so that we're not going down the local bowling alley and trying out the guy that sprays down the shoes or cleans the lanes or, you know, works in the bar next door to the cashier, like, yeah, great. You know, that would be a nice little addition. But I can't do backflips over Jake Bates, but I'm not mad at it either. And I do think he will be your Lions kicker definitely in 2024, and then it's TBD if you ask me. We'll see, but I hope he plays well. Let's kick this over, keep this rapid fire going on the first segment. Let's talk about a guy who's just a legend here on the show, both because of his game, because of how wrong we were on draft day, and because everybody knows that he's a multi-dimensional, positionless. Wait for it. Elite weapon. Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, word came out, last year. I think it was our boy Ben Johnson, where it was like, oh, you have no idea what we're going to do with Jahmyr Gibbs. You haven't even thought of what we're going to do with this player. Like, just wait and see. And, when I heard that, and when I think about what Ben Genius does and what he's done with our offense, I mean, I often think this.
Ben Johnson, I love you. Ben Johnson, you are my hero.
So because I love Ben Johnson and because he's my hero and he's just drawing up nasty offenses and scoring points everywhere, when he said that about Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm like, oh man, this guy is going to be all over the field. They're going to be throwing it to him, reverses, run it, draws, screens, all types of things, right? Gadget plays. Who knows what they're going to do with this guy? You know what I saw a lot last year? Run off tackle, counter sweep, dump off when nothing else was going on. So I think I hit on this on a previous show, but I'm just waiting for this guy to be unleashed, because I feel like you could just line him up as a wide receiver, which is what we were told when we took him, and he could run almost every route in the route tree. I'm talking comebacks, outs, big time overs, sticks, slants, seams, deep balls, whatever you want. And I just didn't see much of any of that. So I think this year, if it was me, I would feature, Demo. It's Demo, by the way. I'd feature Demo in the run game, and I make him like heavy run. I get him the football a lot as long as he's healthy. And when I use Jahmyr Gibbs, I'd be using him a ton more in the passing game and keeping his low light when it comes to runs up the middle, runs when you don't need to run him. I'd be tossing him the ball and making him that weapon in all types of other ways rather than just as a running back. So that's my challenge to Ben Genius, Dan freaking Campbell, Jared Goff, this whole offense, to split this guy out, get him in space, let him work in the passing game. Don't worry about. We can hand him the ball more when Demo hits the flow, goes out the dough, faux show in a couple of years, all that stuff. But right now, it's like run Demo, throw it to Gibby all over the field. I want to see 80 catches, a bunch of deep touchdowns, a bunch of big-time plays where he just yokes a linebacker, catches a seam ball, and he's down the field for 50-plus yards. So that's what I want to see. All right, let's see here. I've been going a little bit long in this first segment, so I'm going to keep this tight. I still got more rapid takes, but I think I'm at about 15, 20 minutes. So let's go ahead and get our great sponsors in here. It really helps out the show when you guys listen to those. You go check them out. You tell your friends. You say, man, I know you listen to all these other Lions pods, they either put you to sleep or tell you the same things about what everybody else says or about these reporters. They just tell you the same basic things they see or that they wrote 10 articles about. I try to come at it a little bit different, entertain you, whatever. Tell a friend. Be like, yo, check out this Koolaid Cast, man. It's usually Oakrey, his buddy Chops. He has like Logan Lamrandier from Sports Illustrated on, every couple months. Brings on Joey, for the Chicago perspective and fun banter at Joey Sports Guy on Twitter. Brings on some other friends. Who knows what other guests and people I might have on the show, but definitely try to come at it from a different perspective and have some fun. Again, can't have as much fun with the sound bits when I'm going solo here on these shows, but try to bring you interesting talk, interesting takes. Try to come at it with a little bit of oomph, as well as just a guy on the mic who likes to talk football, loves the Detroit Lions, and can't wait for this football season to get here. So please check out our sponsors. Please tell a friend. Please helps out if you could leave a review. We are on YouTube now. Again, I'm not really promoting that a ton because we get the big numbers on the podcast platforms, and then small pockets of you seem to slowly be picking it up on YouTube, which is cool. You know what I mean? New people too have hit me up. Hey man, never heard this show, saw it on YouTube. I'm a subscriber. That's cool stuff. That just helps as well. But the millions and millions of you listening on the podcast platforms across the platitudes there is much appreciated. So please do all that. Really helps us out. If you could donate to the show, that's awesome. Appreciate all you that do that. Big shout outs. And all of you that are going to lose to me in fantasy football, that are in all my different leagues, whether it be the Koolaid Cast League or all these different leagues on Reality Sports Online that I do, are just awesome. You've heard it on the show, you ended up joining, you ended up loving it, and we have fun competing there. So all that's good stuff. Everybody, I'm going to take a brief break, get those sponsors in, and we come back. I'm going rapid fire because I talked a little bit on the intro. I still got so much to get to in the back of the show. So everybody, I'll be right back. All right, everybody. This goes out to my fantasy football fans out there. Now, you probably heard about Reality Sports Online, the most powerful fantasy sports platform where owners can build and manage their fantasy team like a real NFL general manager. But the question is, have you tried it? I mean, we're talking free agency, multi-year contracts, rookie drafts, multi-team trades. You could put franchise tags on guys. It's as close as you're going to get to being an NFL GM. But do you think it sounds complicated? It's not. I'm here to tell you it's the best thing about Reality Sports Online is it's just more fun than your normal fantasy league, but it doesn't take barely any more time. After all this, are you still not sure? I mean, come on now. You can test your general manager skills by going over to Reality Sports Online, call it RSO. Please go check out realitysportsonline.com right now. Kool-Aid drinkers, we're back. Thank you so much for listening to those sponsors, checking out the show, repping the show, drinking that Detroit Kool-Aid, double-sided cornbread. Always drinking the Kool-Aid means optimism about the team, supporting your team, laughing it up, cheering on the squad, repping Detroit, all that good stuff. Double-sided optimism when it comes to the cornbread, coming hot out the oven about our team. But I talked about some different stuff in the front, but I'm just going to get right into this. So we're also not going to mess around here on the back half of the show because I got more to get into. So I was thinking about this the other day. So we paid our cornerstones this year, right? Which is Penei Sewell, big nasty beast. Still kind of unsure if he's a right tackle for life or if he'll move to left or how they're going to work all that out. But love that signing. I mean, you cannot pay big bodies that move people that are nasty, that are, 22, 23 years old, enough money. I love that signing. And then you got, Jared Goff, who I've come to appreciate. Hashtag Goff Train. I've supported the guy. I've, I've been known at times to make fun of his wobbly spirals and the fact that he can't throw it deep to hashtag JMO fast. Might get into that here in a moment. But the guy makes the right reads, says the right thing, does the right thing, produced really well. And the Lions said, we want to go with options that we know rather than other options we don't know. I can totally understand and appreciate that stance. So they paid him $53 million on average for the next 3-4 years with some outs and some escalators and some voids and whatever else they did with that contract. But it's crazy. He was making 30 some and it's up. He got a 20-some million dollar raise, whatever it is. He's gonna have to ball out to earn that. But it's a quarterback. You basically just pay these quarterbacks buco bucks, and you don't think about it. Jared Goff, just win us a Super Bowl, and me and everybody else will love you forever. But hashtag Goff train is rolling. Everybody's on board, so that was done. But the one I want to talk about is Amon-Ra, and this was the first one they did. You know, they did that. They did Penny, and they did Jared Goff after that. And I have no questions about the player, Amon-Ra St. Brown. ARSB, does everything right, catches everything, put up crazy numbers, got better every year. You're never going to have to worry about him. Hardest worker on the team. You know, all the stuff you can say about this guy. There's no question. But the thing I wanted to bring up on the show is now that he went from making, you know, I don't know, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but a 4th round pick, an early 4th round pick probably makes a couple mil on average over that 4-year deal. And Saint, you know, did that for... What, his rookie year he didn't do much. 2nd year he came on the scene. 3rd year was balling. 4th year they paid him. So heading into the 4th year, so he went from making like nothing to making 30 some on average. And I know people will say, "But look, now there's all these people making more, and what a savings based on Jefferson's contract and Justin Jefferson, JJ." Look, I mean, it's like. I guess my question to you is, I don't have a problem with what we paid Saint, but when you get a $30 million raise and you're a slot, like, what's his ceiling? And I say that in a good way because I'm interested. I feel like he had a ton of catches. He had what? Nearly 1,400 some yards, somewhere in that range. Again, you'd think I'd have these numbers in front of me or know them, but as much as I like to analyze different things, I don't usually pull up the stats. You guys can either look them up or you know what it is, but I want to say he was in that 13 to 1,500 range. He had, I think he got the 100 catch mark. You know, he's continued to get that the last couple years. He gets peppered with targets. He moves the sticks. He scores a lot of touchdowns. Does fun dances. Looks the part. Gritty, tough. But now that you make like 30 on average, whether it be more in the 26s, 20, whatever it is on the actual books, when you break it all down, well, you know, when it came out and in general, it's around 30 for the next 4 years. Can St. Brown be a 110 catch, 12 to 1,400 yard, 10 touchdown player year in, year out? I mean, well, is his ceiling like 15, 12 plus touchdowns, and can he be a 120 catch guy? I mean, I feel like he's been peppered with targets, so maybe he's already got in those ranges, but usually you just don't see that year after year. And he hasn't had really any big-time injuries, things like that. So I'm just curious what this guy's ceiling is, because he doesn't get a lot of deep, game-changing plays, but man, you look at his stat line every game, it's like 8 or 10 catches, 115 yards, and a score. You know, is what I feel like he did pretty consistently over the last year or so. So I'm just not like curious, but I'm excited to see what his ceiling can be, because you already know the rapport is there with the quarterback. Now you sign the quarterback, so there's no like, oh, new offense, new quarterback, big step back, you know. Even injuries. This guy's going to fight through injuries because he's that big of a DAWG. So, I see him in fantasy as he's being ranked as a top 5 guy. I guess I would still view him as a top 10, top 8 wide receiver, just because his physical talent doesn't wow me still, but his grit, his toughness, his work ethic, his production does. All of that I'm very much wowed by and excited by. So St. Brown, St. Breezy, ARSB, I'm on, rah! Can't wait to see what you do, man. And like you say, it seems like a guy that says, all right, you're going to pay me $30 million? I'm about to give you $30 million worth of production. I can't wait to see where those numbers end up when it's all said and done. Next topic. I just caught this before I started to record, and I think you guys should check it out too. And it's Reception Perception, Jameson Williams by Matt Harmon. Now, I've heard Matt Harmon on some different platforms, podcasts, whatever it may be. Reception Perception, incredible catchy name. The guy does lots of good analytics, talking about splits and his percentage catch against zone, against man, against press, how he does when he runs overs, when he runs corners, what's his win rate on catchable, contested catch. You know, he has all those data, all those numbers. All that is not only so interesting, but very helpful when you're trying to evaluate these players, see where he's really at. Because where I'm at with Jameson Williams, and you guys have heard me say it before, I love the pick, I love the swag. I just don't know how he's going to go from nothing his rookie year. I mean, nothing. Yes, I know he had the injury, but when he came back, he had 2 grabs. One for a deep touchdown, one reversed, I think, that almost went to the house, and that was it. Year 2, I want to say his numbers were like 23, 25 catches for 300-some yards, a few scores mixed in there, and a bunch of swag, and some dances, and a few injuries, and stuff like that. So I'm a J-Mo guy all day, every day. But when he started breaking down this reception perception on J-Mo, he was saying, man, those first couple years, like, this guy's numbers are nowhere close to a legitimate NFL wide receiver. I think he was saying win rates against man needed to be like 70% positive, and J-Mo was at like 15, 30, and then at the back half of the year, he started to get up to the 60s plus, whatever it was. Zone win rate has to be like in the 80 percentile range. J-Mo was like 15, 20, 30%. And then towards the end of the year, he was like 85%. So what he was saying is, man, once this guy really got his legs under him, got all the BS to go away, whether it be injuries, gambling suspensions, minor injuries, hammies, not getting him the football, using him twice a game, and all this other stuff they were doing. Once he started getting like real games, real reps, and running real routes and getting the ball, he started putting up some really nice numbers. Now, he still has horrible numbers, he said, on slants, and I think it was sticks. His deep overs are awesome. His corner routes are great. His deep routes, he even said he was winning on, like, I think it was outs. It might have been outs or sticks. I can't remember. But comebacks, I think it was, where he just has a real good one because he can just show you that deep, chop his feet, come back to the football, and get those type of routes as well. So lots of great info. If you love that kind of stuff, go find it on YouTube. I'm sure it's on podcast platforms as well. Lots of great numbers. Him and the host kind of just kept saying, we don't know what this guy is, and he's skewing to be like horrible when it comes to, you look at the data over a 3-year span heading into year 3. But the way he was so dang good heading into the back half of last year, everyone's saying, breakout season, look out for J-Mo, here we go, let's go. And for me, it's been hard. One of my big fantasy league 32-teamers on Reality Sports Online, yes, I made a big dynamic trade to acquire Jameson Williams, and I love it because I know he's going to win me a few weeks just by having, 6 catches for 180 and 2 scores. But he's also going to have weeks where he's going to just do like 3 targets, 1 catch, 8 yards too. And I just don't know what his stat total is going to be. I'm hoping he can polish up when it comes to just like, hey, I used to run these 3 routes. Now I can run these 6 routes, and I can run them proficiently. I can be where I need to be. And oh, by the way, get me the football. That's you, Jared Goff. That's you, Ben Genius. Like, work me into the game plan, get my swagger up, and then let my talent take over. That's what I want to see from him. And I've said that in different ways multiple times on the show. I'm sure it's a rant, becoming a continued rant, but go check out Reception Perception, Matt Harmon, Jameson Williams, hashtag JMOFast. I think he's going to have a nice breakout. I don't know what those numbers are going to be, but I think he's going to be much more impactful and be much more utilized. That's the other part, is how's a guy supposed to get into the game and win all these routes when he's just being used as a decoy all day, or he's just seeing one football every few quarters. Like, that's not going to get it done. You need to use him more, and that'll get his confidence up. And yes, he's still going to drop balls. He's still going to, he's not a bubble screen slant player. Okay, well, do him, keep doing the things he does well. We know what that is: deep balls, overs, and gadget plays. And even he's been really good on reverses and things like that. So use him in those ways. But I'm hoping for a big time uptick. I'm not going to totally worry about all these numbers because he has had kind of that kooky first couple years. Give him a good solid season. Get him in that 7 to 1,000 yard range. Get him a nice set of touchdowns. And let him electrify the crowd with what this guy does from a speed as well as catch and run after catch perspective. I think it's going to be fun to watch. And sometimes that's enough for me to draft you in fantasy or to be excited about a player. Is, do I just get excited to watch you? Yes, we still need to work on JMO's swag when it comes to the wristbands, the arm sleeves, the visors, the things like that, the shoes, the things that will get him looking like a top WR1, even though obviously he's a WR2 or 3 on this football team, with a big step up here in 2023, I think it is. So, next take. I know these aren't as rapid fire as I maybe said off the top, but they are what they are. The O-line changes. This was one of the most brilliant moves by Brad, always over for Business Homes. When he looked at his roster, started rubbing those meat hooks together, those hands, those big meaty hands, smiling like he does, having that swagger. I just think it's totally lost on people that he let Jonah Jackson walk, signed Glasgow for very manageable money, and then went out and got a very nice upgrade at right guard in Kevin Zeitler, a plug-and-play player, a guy you don't have to worry about on a nothing contract. Like, what a genius move on so many levels for Brad Holmes. And I think this O-line is going to be better. Not only better at the starters, they're going to have better backups behind them. Yes, we don't have many backup tackles that are good, but who does? Nobody. Our interior, though, is good. We got some versatility where Graham can always just pop over to center when need be. That's incredible. Kevin Zeitler, I don't care if he's here for 1 year, 2 years, whatever it is. He's going to jump right in there and play ball, and he's a ball player. I'm here to tell you. He's going to be really good. Again, you could tell me you liked Hal Vaitai or this guy was good. I'm here to tell you, Graham on the left, Zeitler on the right, Frank in the middle, hopefully healthier, and those two tackles, we're going to bully people and pass protect even better in 2024 than we ever have. And that's scary because we've been real good the last handful of years or so. So, very sneaky upgrade, very nice budget management. One guy out, one guy in, re-sign, move this guy around, play him more at his natural spot, leave Penne where he's at, Decker's getting more healthy, back him up, train Manu to be a nasty beast here in a year or so, and away we go. So awesome. Love those O-line changes. Shows you what a true GM does rather than just being like, oh, Jonah Jackson, you want $18 million? Here you go. He was just like, you want what? How much? All right, cool. Well, we'll think about that. And by the way, and he comes back, hey, the Rams are looking to pay me $18 million. All right, well, we hate to lose you, but we'll see you. And then just bringing in Zeitler for what, $6 million, and probably more like $4 million when you break down some of the incentives and some of the loopholes that Brad Holmes puts in these contracts. So, absolutely love that. Couple more quick takes. I probably should have hit on this earlier, and I'll do it quickly, but so blessed, so happy to get invited to the Scott Fish Bowl 14 this year. I've been trying to get in this thing for a while. I think it was 3-4 years ago I kind of got in their side best ball tournaments, but I wanted in the real thing, so I was fortunate enough to get a golden ticket, get in the Scott Fish Bowl. If you don't know what this thing is, man, this is like the Super Bowl of fantasy football, leagues, tournaments, contests, whatever you want to call it. Over 2,000 people across all these different divisions this year. The theme is like movies. So I got in the Back to the Future League in the DeLorean division. And I just can't wait. I mean, Scott Fishbowl, I think he's pretty much just like a regular guy that just started this years ago. It grew. Now it's like everybody that plays fantasy football wants to compete in this, wants to win this, wants to support what he's doing, because Scott Fishbowl has not only created this incredible fantasy football contest with all these ways to get people involved, but he also created or is involved with Fantasy Cares, which is this awesome charity piece that he attached to this whole thing, which raises, again, I hate to just throw numbers out, but millions of dollars, I would say at this point, probably for different charities, and just does such tremendous work on those levels. So I'm just so happy to be a part of it. And the coolest part is that it's such a different league when it comes to scoring and positions and things like that. So I've been brushing up. I've been doing like fantasy mocks and brushing up on what I got to do. So I'm just very quickly, again, rapid fire, going to read you one team that I'm working on right now. So again, just a mock draft. The real ones start July 8th. Keep you guys a little bit updated on how I draft and hopefully how I finish. Hopefully I do really well this year. I'd love to compete and actually show what I can do. But there is a good chance that I could totally suck in my first year or two in this while I learn the format and finish last. So we'll see what happens. But again, quarterbacks are worth a lot. Tight ends are worth a lot. They got all types of wacky scoring. Basically, it's start a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and then you got 5 flexes, which is wide receiver, running back, tight end, and then you got a super flex where you can play a second quarterback. So without boring you with all the details, this is my team right now in round 11, basically heading into round 11. Joe Burrow is my quarterback, Bijan Robinson my running back, Tyreek at wide receiver, Brock Bowers at tight end, Josh Jacobs at running back, T. Higgins, James Conner, TJ Hawkinson, Christian Watson, and Deshaun Watson. Basically the thinking there was I waited a little bit on tight end where you'd be more apt to get one early. But I did get Brock Bowers to catch footballs. Yes, I understand TJ Hawkinson's hurt, but by the time he's back ready to roll, it gave me a nice secondary option there, which I needed. Burrow, Bijan, Tyreek, those guys should carry me most weeks. T. Higgins, once he signed that deal, I feel like he's ready to roll this season. As long as they get him the football, he should be very productive. Will he be in Cincy next year? Probably not, but I think he will ball. James Conner's a guy I don't love, but I just needed a nice running back that's going to get the ball at that point, so I subbed him in. I expect a nice bounce back. I know we hate the cheddar heads, the mozzarella sticks, goat cheese up there in Green Bay, but Christian Watson to me is a really nice player this year if you're in fantasy. I think he's going to be more healthy. He catches the football deep, dynamic athlete, and I think he can do some nice things. And to me, Deshaun Watson, I don't know all of the stuff about his injury. I heard some bad reports that his shoulder will never be the same, and this is broken, and that's no longer going to work the right way. I don't know about all that, but I know Deshaun Watson used to be an absolute elite talent at the quarterback position. He could run it, he could throw it, he made tons of plays. And yes, I don't condone any of his off the field innuendo or what he did or didn't do, but on the football field as a quarterback, I expect a very nice bounce back, and Deshaun Watson to be like a top 10 type fantasy quarterback. I really do, and so to get him later where I did is kind of nice. So now I'm going to be filling in talent, on my bench. Again, I'm only halfway through this draft. I feel pretty good about it, especially those starters and some of those top flex players that I got. But just wanted to shout out Scott Fishbowl. Obviously, you guys have been listening to the show for a while and know that I absolutely love fantasy football. Trying to make it more of a focus, more of a career point for me, trying to get my foot in the door in different ways, but absolutely love it. I could just mock draft and draft all day long. Love talking about player value, team building strategies, all of that. So if you love that as well, hit me up on Twitter at Derek Oakrey. You can find me on the Sleeper app for fantasy football. You want to know more about reality sports online, maybe get one of my leagues next year, hit me up. And I'll be letting you know how I do in Scott Fishbowl. Hope I compete, hope I do well, and really fun. So the last thing I wanted to hit on was the hashtag Goff train, and when it comes to his deep ball, because I mentioned it earlier about his wobbly spirals, can't get the ball to J-Mo. Like I said, you're making $53+ million. I need this guy to cut it loose a little bit more this year, even if it means more turnovers, whatnot. I need them to dial up nice deep balls. I'm not talking about these double reverse whoop-de-doo hoochie mama play where, they do 8 fakes and then Sam Laporta's wide open down the field and he throws a lollipop and Sam catches it and walks in the end zone and we all love it and the stat lines look good. I want to talk about Jared Goff letting the ball loose for 40, 50 yards on the dime to J-Mo, Saint, whatever it may be, deep over to whoever, catch, run into the end zone. And don't get me wrong, he has done that, just not at the type of level that I want. As well as I think you need to stretch these defenses a little bit more because they're going to be more on the underneath stuff. They're going to be probably doubling Saint a lot now. You need to cut it loose. And I think I heard Mark Brunell, the quarterback's coach, say, Jared Goff's got the most elite arm talent I've ever seen in my whole career. I mean, I don't buy that for a second, to be honest. I know Mark Brunell, as well as at Chops in the D, my buddy Chop Chop, might say this.
I don't want your boola boola support when it comes to Jared Goff. You don't get to join the Goff train. You're off, bro. You're off.
I mean, they'd probably say that just because I'm questioning his arm talent, his arm strength, his arm accuracy, his deep ball accuracy. But I think that's a real spot where Jared Goff not only needs to improve, but you can come to the podium every time and say, oh, I'm working on my connection. It's all about reps. It's all about chemistry. It's this, it's that. There's been a good amount of times where he's overthrown, underthrown, missed a guy, didn't want to cut it loose. And that was the most fun thing about Matt Stafford, is that he would just zing balls in holes. He would throw the ball up over the top. He would throw a ball in between a safety and a corner and get you a 40-yard touchdown in the blink of an eye. And Matt Stafford has special, one-of-a-kind arm talent. Jared Goff, to me, has a very accurate throwing arm. Like, the way he puts the ball on people, the way he basically never misses an open player, at least when they're 20 yards and in, is tremendous. It's excellent. It's exceptional. I love watching it. And I know you could say, but Oakrey, you can't be good at everything. It's like, I'm paying you 50-some million now. I need you to be a general, a leader, short throws, long throws, gadget plays. I do need you to pretty much do everything and take that game to the next level. And I do think that that's really one of the only things I've noticed consistently that hasn't been where I want it to be. Like, where's that tight throw between 3 people that isn't 15-yard ins, that's 28 to 35 yards down the football field, that just makes you go, wow, like that was special, or that's a game changer, or that's going to help us win this football game. It's few and far between. I feel like it's been marginal at best. And when these defenses creep up, or when they think, James, what's he going to do? And J-Mo just gets off press because he's been in that weight room and just zings by a guy and runs past the safety, and you drop it in a bucket 46 yards down the field. He catches it and prances in the end zone for an 80-yard score. That's what I want to see from the hashtag Goff train and the Lions this year. Stretch the field, be aggressive, even if you get a couple more turnovers. You got to do that, and you can't always do it. You've done it for a couple years here with gadgets and with trickery. Now it's got to be, hey, our guys can get open and our quarterback can drop it. Like, all you guys saw that highlight a few weeks ago. Jared Goff unleashed one down the right sideline. Absolute seed, dropped over the Carlton right in the arms of J-Mo. Incredible throw, great catch, swaglicious after the play. J-Mo throwing the ball over to the Ford headquarters, doing a little dance. You know, I'm sure Jared Goff gave him a little dap on the way back, and that's the kind of throw I love to see. And I know you hear, oh, it's happening in practice. Oh, he's just, man, can you throw it? It's like, I just want to see it a little bit more. So I know I'm not going to end it on like a Jared Goff, you know, nitpick session, but here's where I'm at with the Lions. Like, I feel they've had a nice, I think Chris Spielman, that's another thing you guys need to check out. Chris Spielman on the Pick Is In podcast, he talked about what villains meant. He talked about how they draft players. He talked about why Sane is so good, why they took Jahmyr Gibbs. Gave his brother, you know, the Spielmans got after each other like only brothers can, which was fun to watch. That's tremendous as well. So go check that out. The Lions have 3 tight ends at tight end U right now. They had what Chris Spielman said was the best spring so far when it comes to what he saw out there, how ready he thinks these guys are. You know, we're waiting for like San Francisco to trade Brandon Ayuk to some other team. Then the Lions will pretty much be the favorite in the NFC to win it and to go to the Super Bowl. I've been telling you this on this pod that, yes, I'm projecting them to win 12 to 14 plus games, win the North, be the number 1 seed in the NFC, win the NFC, go to the Super Bowl, and win the Super Bowl this season. But it isn't going to be easy. It's going to start here in a month or so at training camp. You're going to have to grind through. You're going to have to stay healthy. Dan Campbell's going to have to stay aggressive. Jared Goff's going to have to throw the ball deep. J-Mo's going to have to take a step. You're going to have to use Jahmyr Gibbs in the passing game. Our O-line's going to have to be better than it ever was. Bates is going to have to make some big-time field goals for you. I think I just recapped my whole show just by telling you that all those things can, will, and probably are going to happen. And if they do, we'll be hoisting that trophy at the end of the year. So, everybody, that's what I got. Hit you up with a rapid-fire session. Try to get a lot in. Try to give you some interesting thoughts, takes, opinions. I'll catch you next week right here on the Detroit Koolaid Cast. Take care, everybody. I'm out.
Pack the bags, start the plane. This game is over. It is over. What a comeback by the Lions. Drink it in, man.